All right, let's get right into it. We're about to explore a piece of writing that's around 3,000 years old, but you're going to see it speaks to our modern lives with, honestly, some startling clarity. We're looking at Proverbs 21, and we're going to treat it like a masterclass in just living well.
I mean, just pause and think about that for a second. We live in this age of endless life hacks and productivity apps, right? But what if some of the most powerful advice has been sitting right here the whole time? What if this one ancient chapter actually gives us a practical blueprint for how to handle our careers, our communities, and even what's going on inside our own heads?
So that's exactly how we're going to tackle this. This isn't a sermon. It's not about heavy theology. It's about practical, street-smart wisdom. We've actually broken the whole chapter down into 4 main pillars that you'll see touch on almost every part of a well-lived life. Think of it less like a scroll and more like a handbook for human flourishing. So, where does this ancient handbook begin? Well, it starts inside. It all starts with our inner world. The text is pretty insistent that before you can even think about success or wealth or anything external, you've got to look inward first. So here's Pillar 1, a guide to the heart.
And right off the bat, this makes such a critical point. We are fantastic at justifying our own actions, aren't we? We can cook up a story to convince ourselves that whatever we're doing is totally fine. But this proverb just cuts right through all that noise. It says the real measure isn't our own justification, but our core motivation, our heart.
And then the text pushes this idea even further. It draws this sharp line between doing what is right and just, genuine ethical behavior, and mere sacrifice. You can think of that as just empty gestures, maybe performative actions. The point is crystal clear. Who you are is way more valuable than just going through the motions.
And check out this incredible farming metaphor it uses. It says, haughty eyes and a proud heart are the unplowed field of the wicked. So what on earth does that mean? It means arrogance, that pride. That's the fertile ground where all the negative stuff, all the wrongdoing, really begins to grow. It's the root system for a whole lot of trouble.
Okay, so once our internal compass is pointing in the right direction, the text totally shifts gears. It moves to the external world, the world of work, of money, of wealth. So Pillar 2 is what it calls the path to profit.
And here we get this formula that is so simple, but so profound. Diligence, thoughtful, steady, consistent planning, that leads to gain. But the flip side? Haste. Just rushing into things, being reckless, that leads directly to poverty, to lack. It's timeless advice, whether you're in business, managing your finances, or really working on any project at all.
This whole theme of planning ahead just keeps going. So here's the picture of the wise person. They're not just thinking about lunch today, they are planning for the future. They're storing up valuable resources. Here it's choice food and olive oil, which is just a great picture of saving and investing for whatever's coming down the road.
And boom, right after that, you get the total opposite. The fool gulps theirs down. It's such a visceral image, right? You can just picture it. It's all about impulsive consumption, living only for this exact moment with zero thought for tomorrow. The contrast couldn't be more stark.
And hey, if you need it spelled out any clearer, verse 17 basically says whoever loves pleasure will become poor. Now the text isn't anti-fun. It's not saying pleasure is bad, but it's warning that a life dedicated only to chasing pleasure, to constant consumption, well, it ultimately leads to having nothing. The financial outcome is literally zero.
So we've gone from the heart to our wallet, and now the chapter zooms out even wider to our place in the community. Pillar 3 is all about how our actions are connected to something much bigger, justice in society, and how what we do creates ripples.
I mean, look at this. The text lays out this direct cause and effect loop. It's almost like a karmic cycle. If you ignore the needs of the poor, if you shut your ears to them, the text warns that you'll eventually face that same exact indifference when it's your turn to ask for help. It's this powerful argument for compassion, not just because it's a nice virtue, but because it's a practical necessity. And then we see this two-sided coin of justice. For people who are trying to live uprightly, a just system brings a sense of security, even joy. But for those who do wrong, that same system is a source of terror. So from this point of view, justice isn't just an idea, it's the actual bedrock of a healthy, functioning society.
Okay, so we've looked at the heart, we've looked at our work, we've looked at our community. This final pillar, man, it gets to the biggest questions of all. It's about control, it's about wisdom, and it's about the ultimate source of success, or as the text puts it, the source of victory.
This might just be the most powerful verse in the entire chapter. On one side, you have our responsibility. The horse is made ready for the day of battle. You got to do the work. You have to prepare. You have to train. You have to strategize. But then there's this profound acknowledgement of forces that are bigger than us. The ultimate outcome, the victory, isn't entirely up to you. The wisdom here is to do absolutely everything in your power, while at the same time humbly accepting that the final result is ultimately out of your control.
So, let's put it all together. What have we really learned from this chapter? First, that our inner character is so much more important than just putting on a show. Second, that patient diligence builds wealth while rushing around just destroys it. Third, that justice isn't just a concept, it's a cornerstone for all of us. And maybe the biggest one, do your best, but acknowledge the limits of your own control.
And all of that leaves us with this one last thought. We live in a world that is obsessed with data, with metrics, with planning, and trying to control every single possible outcome. So what role does ancient wisdom like this play? How do these 3,000-year-old ideas about the heart, diligence, and humility fit into our very modern search for a meaningful, successful, and well-lived life? Definitely something to think about.